Hello, this is David Taylor Clausen. Welcome to Mindset Mondays with DTK. This is episode 62 in an ongoing series designed for folks with a growth mindset or those who'd like to develop one to have a playground to dance with new ideas, new concepts, and frankly, try on new mindsets. So here's our playground today. And before I get there, just a quick reminder, please, underneath this video, click shift, click share, and please spread the word. Invite your friends, your family, your colleagues to join this conversation. The most powerful asset we have as we move through life is our ability to choose one thought over another. In other words, to choose our mindset. So share, please. And let me bring up today's quote because this is one, and I will keep this to our normal 15-minute window, although this could be a 4-hour conversation, right? You'll understand. The price of anything is the amount of life that you exchange for it. This touches on the core of my work. And what I've really started to focus on, I cannot tell you how much I love this Thoreau quote. And first, I sort of have to make a disclosure, right? This is a famously misquoted quote of Thoreau. There's an entire website dedicated to all the quotes that are misquoted, and this is very near the top. The full quote, the actual Thoreau line is, "The cost of anything is the amount of what I call life, which is required to be exchanged for it, immediately or in the long run." So it does expand this a little bit. Again, the cost of a thing is the amount of what I will call life, which is required to be exchanged for it immediately or in the long run. So there's a small tweak to it, and what it offers is the idea of what I call life, which I think is such a critical element, because this is the crux of where our opportunity for shift and for change comes in, right? What I call life, what I choose to call life, what I value in my life. Value. We have these homogenizing cultural forces that impose upon us and press in on us that have left our culture overweighted towards the idea of a single currency evaluation of success. One currency, money. That it's not money that's the root of all evil. It's an overweighted currency evaluation that is the root of all evil. The fact that we are taught, passively or overtly, doesn't matter, to only measure our success based on dollars, money earned, clients closed, you name it. And that's a challenge because it devalues, it downregulates all of the other currencies that are important, all of the other things for which we exchange, that we exchange for other things of value. Our attention, time with community, time with family, heart, peace, peace of mind, time value of money. There are so many other things that we value in this world besides just money. You can never have enough of what you don't need. When we only measure our success by how much money we make, the dollars we earn, rather than the impact we have or the time we create with our family, the experiences we have, the freedom and the flexibility we create for ourselves, wow, we have a skewed view. So when we go back and look at things from the perspective of the price of anything is the amount of what I call life that we exchange for it, we have a whole new measure, for the value of something. It's interesting that the phrase is to pay attention, because that to which we give our attention is intrinsically of value. Just putting our mind on it, just putting our attention on it, gives something value. Flip side, We have to decide if something is of value to us before we let it live in our mind, before we spend time stewing on it. In the email for this week's episode, I talked about the idea of we pay attention. We're giving free rent to something in our head. It's only free rent if it's not really important to us. When we obsess over something that's happened in the past, or we catastrophize forward over something over which we have no control. Wow, those are things that we're giving free rent, playing over things in our head, conversations over and over again that we can't go back and change. Lamenting a past relationship, obsessing over a past failure. That's giving free rent. In the era of Airbnb, would you let somebody stay in your house for months at a time and not charge them? Would you rent out a room or your entire house without compensation? Well, when we obsess over thoughts that don't serve, my God, we are absolutely doing that. We are giving free rent to an interloper that we've invited in. That to which we pay attention is thereby a value. Spend your attention wisely. Spend your time wisely. Those are two currencies more valuable than money. So is learning. So is growth. So is self-care. There's so many currencies that we find of value. What if we treated those with the same respect and drive that we approach money? How differently would we spend our time? What are the currencies that you exchange? What are the currencies that you have? What are the things of value that you exchange for other things in your world? The price of anything is the amount you exchange for it. See, money may be the physical means of exchange. It comes and it goes. But what about the emotional exchange with one another, or the spiritual exchange? What about the exchange, the things we exchange that we can't touch, those ethereal things like attention, like positive or negative energy, like time, like connection, like experience, like travel? We get to decide how we spend things. I have an incredible skill for playing over the past and playing over the past and playing over the past. All the things I could have, should have, would have said brilliantly or done differently. It doesn't serve. It distracts. I could be putting all that energy and effort and thought and time towards something that serves. On the corner of my monitor up here, I have something that I was given as part of a team that was leading an event this past week. And it says, "Hell would be if God were to show me things I could have accomplished if only I had believed in myself." And though I love the quote, hell would be, I'm going to change it a little bit. Hell would be if God were to show me things I could have accomplished if only I had spent my currencies more wisely. How much more could you accomplish in this world if you were intentional about everything you spent, way beyond just money? How you spent your time, how you spent your energy, how you spent your emotion, how you paid attention. I'm 62 weeks into this Mindset Mondays project. And going back to the very beginning, our greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another, to choose that to which we pay attention. So Dwayne offered up, how do we identify what is and is not of value? It seems at the time we need them, but only in retrospect can we evaluate what is of true value. Yes, and you don't have to wait to look back. It's that moment of reflective intelligence. It's that ability to stop, be present, and think about what you're thinking about. Pay attention to it. Ha. Marsha Reynolds talks about reflective intelligence. It's that pause for reflection that is everything. Pause. Notice what you're thinking about and choose. It's only in retrospect that we can evaluate whether it was a value, because that's the only time we stop to reconsider or stop to consider in the first place. Pausing in the moment. Is this a value? Does this serve? Is the way that I'm spending my time right now, is the way that I'm expending my energy, is the thing to which I am paying attention worthy of my attention? So what are the clues that tell you to pay attention and thought check? So where do you feel it in your body when you get triggered? Where do you feel it in your body when you get excited? What is your tell? Like in playing poker, what is your tell? How do you know physically? That's how you know to check in. Me? A little burning in the back of my ears. If I'm wound up around the axle, playing something over in the background that I've done before that I wish I had done differently. When that happens, that's my trigger to pause and go into metacognition, thinking about what I'm thinking about. That's my moment to pause. Is this what I want to be spending my energy on? Is this worthy of my paying attention to? Hey, even on the flip side, when there's resonance, when I'm turned on by something, excited by something, what's that trigger? Right? I get that little tingle in the back of my head, right at the top of my neck. That's a time to check in and say, is this really a good thing? Or is it good in the moment? Because remember, what's the original quote? Right? The original quote is, the cost of a thing is the amount of life, the amount of what I call life, which is required to be exchanged for it immediately or in the long run. So checking in the immediate to evaluate whether there's a good long-term expenditure. Oh, Emily Gale, I love this. There's also the checking in, is this my task or someone else's, right? From a leadership perspective, is this mine or does this belong to someone else? Is this my zone of genius or does this get delegated? So it's still that metacognition is checking in, thinking about what you're thinking about and evaluating where it belongs. Yeah, Dwayne, that really is the key. Dwayne, thinking about what I'm thinking about, that metacognition piece, the thinking about what you're thinking about, feeling about what you're feeling about, really playing with it. Because when you are present to what you're thinking about and present to what you're feeling, then you can be intentional about your feelings and your thinking and your attention. It's only when you're intentional that you can spend wisely. Right. And this is really the playground. How is it that you want to spend your resources, spend your currencies? You're the only one that can choose. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. It's all your choice. So the opportunity for this week is to be intentional with your attention. The opportunity for you to play with this mindset is to be aware of what you're aware of, to attend to what you're attending to think about what you're thinking about. So the mindset opportunity is to be intentional. So I'll offer between now and next week, pause, reflect, note what currencies you're spending, and determine whether it's something worth spending. So between now and next Monday, what mindset will you choose?